views.
No,
No,
You
wow.
just share it, and like half your friends take a look for 3 seconds, and you got the view.
Hey, thank those friends.
I don't
That
know.
3-second view, that's all that counts for right now.
Nice.
I think all the friends that are still active for Facebook for me are all parents.
Boomers.
Hey, real quick, Arjun, are we recording and sending audio?
Well, I see the audio. I
Okay.
saw it last time too.
Hey, if anyone's watching, can you hear us? Or are we just talking
Are
into
we-
the abyss?
Are we real or not?
Is this happening?
Are we, I don't know. No. Thanks, Julian. That's good. That's
Spoiler.
good. Spoiler.
No.
Okay, for those joining, we're about to do our Was It Good podcast for Star Wars Episode
Again.
9, Rise of Skywalker. Fun fact, this is the second time. Whoa, what is
I'm getting
that?
some weird feedback. So.
Oh, that's...
That's why we do what we do.
I wasn't getting any feedback.
I know. I think it might just be me.
No.
You
Well,
like your ears?
Yeah, it might
Your
be.
brain?
No. Don't do that.
Don't do.
Don't make
what?
fun of me.
Why not?
You don't know me.
I can't believe you guys were both gone for like 3 straight days.
Was that nice for you?
It was more than nice, but I wish I wish I knew ahead of time. I would plan so
well,
many
I
good
wasn't supposed
stuff.
to be, and then I got sick.
Oh,
I was gonna be back Friday
oh. So you got sick and stayed wherever you were.
with my girlfriend. Yeah.
Oh.
Hold on. Someone speak.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah, something's
we're
messed up
getting
now.
weird stuff here. In and
That's
out
better.
of my ears.
That's better. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello,
I
hello,
think
hello.
it's this cable. It's starting.
Well, the nice thing
A
is it
little
doesn't
bit.
sound weird.
Yeah, it's just our feedback. I think that's
Oh,
weird
that's not
because
good.
it's the auxiliary.
Oh,
But I digress.
no. What the
Ah, I heard
hell was
myself.
that?
I love when that happens.
All right, we ready? Should I start the recording?
That would be ideal.
All right, the recording is starting. You can give it a whatever count that you want to.
The rush.
Nah.
I'll do what all of our talent does. Ready to go. 3, 2, 1.
Actually, hold on real quick. Julian,
Fucking hell!
Can you just lean in a little bit, Julian? Because you're on. Yeah, like right around. Yeah,
Sure.
if you want to be like right around there.
And then if you tap your face, then you won't be blown out.
Oh yeah, you're a little white right now.
Okay,
Okay,
You-
perfect.
oh.
You-
No, that's good. That's good.
Why
That's
is it not locking? Yeah, I think we're okay.
That's better.
Okay.
Not too white.
Okay, I'm gonna do a 3, 2, 1 to my start of my actual 3, 2, 1. So
'Kay.
3, 2, 1. Then 3, 2, 1. What's Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker good? I'm your host, Ravi, joined by Christian and Arjuna, my 2 brothers. And we have a special guest, Julien Schwab. Welcome all. And let's do this again, because fun fact, this is the second time we're recording this podcast, because we are such dedicated, loyal Star Wars idiots.
Yeah, that's accurate.
It's the lost episode. The first part was the lost episode of Was It Good?
Yeah. Probably
Yes,
for the best. It wasn't our
because
best.
we forgot how to hit record.
No, we hit record. We had the record.
Oh, yeah,
There's
we
no
just
audio.
forgot audio wasn't
There's no
going.
audio on the.
But that's not
video.
that's not an essential part of podcasting. Is
No,
it?
no.
Audio. I mean, I don't.
No.
You know what? I
You
will
can
say
get by
this.
without audio.
You know, on 60 plus episodes of Was It Good, on 15 plus episodes of Empire Nation, of all our previous other podcasts we've done, which is over 100 episodes, that was our very first technical gaffe where we didn't get the podcast.
I don't clap
pretty
to
good
that.
success.
So
rate.
that's
That's not
almost
bad.
that's almost 200 episodes of podcasting.
You know,
without-
now we're
without
due
our
for like
first
2
thing.
in the next 3 months. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it's one of
next,
those
next,
awful
what's gonna
stats.
happen
broke
is
the dam.
the
Yeah,
computer will
pretty
just blow up or something. Guys, anyway, we're talking Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. Obviously, this movie came out at the time of this recording.
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. People have been talking about this. They've been podcasting about this. They've been screaming about this. They've been twittering about this. John Boyega,
Boyega.
wow,
Boyega.
has been going out there and saying things. Raylo fans are going crazy. I don't know. This is our second time talking about Star Wars. There's so many other things that we could talk about. Let's talk about the Yankees.
No.
Oh, gross.
Ew.
I'd rather literally talk about anything else.
As a Yankee
than
fan
me
too,
and
I would
the
rather
Yankees.
also. I got myself all worked up in a lather this morning talking about
Oh,
at work
yeah.
with Krish getting ready for this podcast. There's loads to say about this movie. We don't need to talk about the Yankees.
That being said,
Wow.
let's start with our tradition here, which is our one-word impression. A lot of us have seen this at least 2-3 times.
Oof.
Maybe some of us went and saw a second time and walked out of the theater. Maybe I have a story for you all.
Whoa.
Anyway,
Ooh.
let's start with one-word
Titillating.
impressions. Arjuna, you're wearing a T-shirt that has 260, so you get to go first.
Well, this is actually a reference to Les Mis. It's 24601, which is the
Oh.
inmate number for
That's
the
right.
main character.
Jean Valjean.
Exactly.
24601.
There you go.
I never saw the movie, so
Nerds.
Well, it's actually a musical first.
whatever.
But anyway, my
I
one
hate
word
musicals.
my one word impression will be bore.
What was that dramatic pause? Like,
It was actually me thinking of like the way I wanted to say the word.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
My brain is
Yeah.
I'm a little sick right now. So,
Yeah. Understood.
Granted, but the movie for me was just a bore. It was just kind of a shrug, and it didn't fulfill me, so I was bored by it. It was a bore.
All right.
Okay, you did not awaken.
I didn't awaken.
You did not rise.
JJ failed to awaken me twice.
What the
JJ
fuck?
did not rise to the occasion.
Actually, my one word is now con.
Con. Oh my god. Julian, what would you say your one-word impression is?
Well, I think it's it could be really easy to just be like bad or like but let me try and get it a word that also I think is why it's bad, which is rushed.
Ooh,
I feel like
That's good.
the movie was rushed. I feel like this whole trilogy was rushed, and there are pieces of good things in all these movies. There's even droplets of good ideas in Rise of Skywalker, but it was just all so rushed and put together too quickly, and even the pace of the movie is rushed. Everything is rushed, and that's why it's disappointing.
The editor of the movie actually came out and said they had 3 less months to work on Rise of Skywalker than they did The Force Awakens.
And they didn't have enough time to work on Force Awakens either, I would wager.
Yeah.
There's so much misinformation out there,
Yes.
but one of the pieces that I've heard, and I think I mentioned this last time we recorded, is that from the moment of announcing a release date to hiring a writer and creating Force Awakens was a year and a half, which is insane.
Yeah.
That's insane, and I doubt that they might have even had less time for Rise of Skywalker.
Yep. For any movie, much less a beloved franchise as
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So rushed.
If
that's my word.
if Avatar 2 can get 12 years,
That is such a good point, dude. That is such a good
then
point.
Star Wars would at least get 5. I don't know. I'm just saying.
well, to be fair, between episode 3
Yeah.
and episode 7, we had like almost you had like 20 years or something, or
Yeah,
15
we had
years.
3 other movies in there though.
Yeah, you
but
had a
still, we
complete-
had some time so that if
No.
some massive corporation was buying this and had this thing called foresight, they would have, I don't know, put together a trilogy plan.
Yeah, but they didn't. That's the point.
Well, here's the thing. They took George Lucas's original ideas for a sequel trilogy and then trashed them. And then they started over with J.J. Abrams.
No, they didn't trash them. They took them out to the dumpster and fucking burned them.
Oh my god.
I mean, but you see it all the time with corporations forcing a release date and then, bad movies or, directors leaving. It just happened with another Disney property with...
There's a sports term that a lot of sportscasters like to use
Us?
during
We?
during games when things start going wrong. You hate to see it.
you hate to
You
see
do.
it, but like...
you
it-
do hate to see
But
it.
it happened with Scott Derrickson in the Doctor Strange movie. He left over creative differences, and a lot of people are resurfacing tweets he made in December about with a forced release date with Doctor Strange, and then the big corporation kind of forcing their ideas on the filmmaker.
You gotta hit that budget and that goal.
You gotta hit it.
Nice.
Christian, I want to go next.
Okay.
So I will be polite and let you go next instead.
Oh wow! Look at that! Look at that classy move. So mine comes from a fascinating conversation that me and Jules had earlier today. I'm going to use a double meaning. The real meaning we'll get to later, but my one word is bots.
Bots or
Yeah.
butts?
Bots.
B-O-T-S?
B-O-T-S.
Like
yes.
robots?
Yeah. Well, yeah. We're gonna go with robots, and the reason I'm gonna go with that, on a surface level, is that the droids may have been one of the better parts of the movie, which is bad. When the droids, the annoying, snarky droid,
Which one?
seems like like C-3PO
Yes.
seems like the most genuine character in the movie. You have a huge problem.
Much
That's
like the
fair,
prequel
yeah.
trilogy, they're the best part of the.
Yeah, it's problematic. So my one word is going to be bots, and the real meaning shall come out later.
Interesting.
Ooh, you're teasing the rest of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
that's
this is podcasting.
okay.
Anyway,
Nope. Nope.
Yippee!
No.
I hate sand.
Hey!
Mine's gonna actually, for my one more impression, it's gonna be and please don't yell at me, but it's gonna be timeless.
Get out.
Okay.
Show yourself.
Explain it.
And the
Go
reason
on.
that I'm gonna call it timeless is because you could be used as like timeless piece of crap,
What not to do?
or in 5 years, if the Disney machine can figure things out and we get more content behind a lot of these other like subplots that they forgot to like fill in the blanks on, like Captain Phasma, Snoke, and stuff like that, there's a possibility that this could actually be a good trilogy if there's more content added. Now, you and I were having a conversation regarding episodes 1, 2, and 3, in the sense that on the surface they're shit movies.
Yeah,
1 and 2
absolutely.
being some of the worst written pieces of science fiction in the galaxy. But with introduction of things like Star Wars, the Clone Wars series, all the comics, all the other backstories, and all that other rich and interesting stuff, it makes those films feel a little bit better than they are.
Yeah, or at least you can go back and watch them and be like, oh, there's some context around some
Yeah.
of this stuff. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a very optimistic one word that you have there.
Trying this new thing in 2020.
Yeah, no, it's not
It's
going to
called
work.
lying.
Oh, okay, lying, new. All right, fair enough.
So that was the podcast.
That's
it.
and we're done.
So to refresh everyone's memory, because for a lot of us, some of us have seen it once, twice, whatever. Those listening, you may have only seen it the once, but we'll run through a quick rundown of what happened. Arjuna, the producer over here, he wrote this. It's his words. You all have heard this before, so I'm going to go as quick as possible.
Cool.
If you want to jump in and you have something to say, even if it's a noise or whatever, it's fine. It's no comment is bad, I guess. Sheev, right? Sheev lives.
So wait,
Wow, first sentence. I love it.
because we did mention this in the last podcast, but I just want to say that I was optimistic here, right? Like
It's true.
when he says
true.
when the scroll starts and it says Sheev lives, and we see what Sheev's up to, in this big in this big laboratory, like I thought I was optimistic because Star Wars at its best borrows from old Hollywood, right?
Sure. Yeah.
From these serials. The Mandalorian borrows from westerns, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking we're doing a monster movie. I was like, at least we are back to the core of Star Wars, taking from classic Hollywood. So while some people were like put off by the beginning, for the first like 2.5 minutes, I was at least like, okay,
Yeah.
Star Wars, what are you? Then I saw your garbage, but in terms of the very beginning, I was optimistic.
I totally agree. Like when they pulled that in right off the bat, I was like, thank God we don't have to spend 45 minutes waiting for Palpatine to arrive.
Is he
We
back?
already-
Is he not?
We already know he's
Yeah,
back. So
yeah.
the fact is they got it out of the way right off the bat. It's true. I was optimistic for it. Yeah. 2.5 minutes is pretty accurate, I would say. Yeah.
Snoke was a clone. Win the war. Race to the finish. Go. Adventure time. Rose, episode 8. Stay away.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Another fucking sand planet. Not Donald Glover. Ray, how do you say this one?
Nagini.
Nagini has a scratch. Chewie didn't get crushed by a moon. He got zapped. Babu. Make fun of 3PO till he dies. Oh, for the love of God, that still pisses me off.
Why?
Entire fucking stupid sequence.
Why? Because
He doesn't die.
Oh,
No,
that's
it's not
true.
that. It's not that. It's because C-3PO is a character that has been there since Tatooine and the boy Yippee Wonder,
Yeah.
and he's all the way at the very end. And these three ding-dong bats of characters are just very lightheartedly just like whatever about it. And I get it's a droid. In that world, it's considered a thing.
Yeah.
But it still felt so stupid Marvel comic-y BS bullshit.
So
that it
wait,
was like
what did you want then? Like more emotion?
yeah.
Really?
I wanted a tear-jerk moment,
Okay.
which we never got ever.
With 3PO.
With 3PO, maybe with Chewie. At
But
some
I'll
point.
cry at the drop of a hat with Star Wars, honestly, and I
Yeah.
did not come close to shedding one tear in
Right,
this movie.
and that's
Wait,
my,
wait,
that's
wait.
my problem with this.
What? Oh, let's keep going.
Okay.
Let's keep going
Yeah,
through the
okay.
thing, because then I'll bring up the part where maybe I did actually feel something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you sure it wasn't
And the first time
the
I saw
gas
You ate too much popcorn.
from
I didn't have any
drinking
popcorn.
all
Maybe
the,
that's why.
the
You were hungry.
slushy?
I was hungry.
You were
That's why I was crying.
Let's board the enemy ship for the millionth time. Chewie lives, bitches. Hi, my name is Ray Palpatine, and I have anger issues. More good people, stormtroopers. I didn't get that the first time. I still don't understand. Wait, what?
Like the good guy stormtroopers. They're not bad.
More
people
good
stormtroopers.
people.
They're bad
Are
against their will.
stormtroopers or were stormtroopers?
Yeah.
No, just read it together. Like more good people, stormtroopers.
No, bad English.
That's
Bad
the
English.
idea. That's the part of the joke.
Ray the vampire. Goodbye, princess. Kylo's dead, but Ben lives.
See, okay, so that part I was like, the first time I watched it, I did get a little emotional, only because when you bring in the idea that Carrie Fisher is gone, and perhaps she's just trying as hard as she can to leave a little bit of her legacy in this, this disaster of a movie. I was like, oh, man.
Well, actually, going back to the emotion thing, we said this actually the first time in the Alternate Universe podcast.
Yeah.
Where we said, I think collectively the idea was start the fucking movie off at a funeral.
Yeah.
Princess Organa's funeral, it would have been way more impactful, more interesting than that.
Yeah, right. And
Which was a
we
fart.
discussed it last time, but like the pacing issues, and then her being CGI'd in, and all these lines that didn't really fit.
I think it's really unique for a Star Wars movie. You've never started a Star Wars movie on a like really sour note like that. Like every Star Wars movie kind of started. Obviously, if you look at all of the other 8 movies, everything kind of has a little bit of a different start. But I think it would have been really powerful to start with like everybody at like an all-time low, and then you really see the rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Like Leia's dead.
Yeah.
The Emperor is back.
Yeah.
And then maybe you have this terrible event where she accidentally kills Chewie, like for real, not this stupid J.J. Abrams resurrection killing, but like actually kills with stakes. Then now we're going. Now we got ourselves like the beginnings of a story or a movie.
You got 15 rebels total.
Yeah. Well, that's what Ryan Johnson left them, like 8 rebels just in that one room just hanging out. Oh, man, that's a
we have
small
hope. yeah.
But here's something. Sorry, and this may not be, but like when the rebels show up. Sorry, keep going on your thing because that.
it'll come up.
Yeah, because I
we'll
want
get
to.
there.
That's.
Kylo's dead. Wow, what the hell? Kylo's dead. Ben lives.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones talks to
Shia.
Shia. I mean Adam Driver.
Shia LaBeouf. Yeah.
Porgs and lightsabers and X-wings and oh hi Mock. Chewie cries.
Yeah.
Dio has some plot significance.
Who?
It's the final battle again. That little droid, the cone droid. That's
The
Dio.
toy.
Yeah.
The toy.
Dio.
Horses on a ship.
Yeah.
Blind Palpy. Ben is back. Oh look, the Knights of Ren. Yay. Blow the CGI budget and all the ships. Unlimited power.
Is that where you wanted to come in? Blow the CGI budget and all the ships? Like
I guess
the
is
fleet?
that the fleet showing
Yeah.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't understand why the fleet shows up this time.
Yep, that's a great point. They didn't
Plot
show up.
device.
Yeah.
But that's it. And the only thing I think of is like it feels like J.J. Abrams is being like, they'll show up this time because they didn't show up last time because it was such a stupid movie. But like the rebels show up for the cool movies, right? Everybody, like it totally felt like.
I actually read an interesting article that because of like Luke Skywalker's sacrifice at the end of Episode 8, that has started to inspire hope within the galaxy.
We
and
don't see
because this
that.
is like a year later, that hope is starting to rise up, and it culminates with.
Well, that was
Nobody said that.
But that was the whole-
That's nowhere in the movie.
Also,
That's
but
what I
that's-
read.
Hold on, but that's at the end of The Last Jedi with the boy looking up from Kaito Bite or whatever.
Canto Bite.
Canto Bite.
Canto Bite?
And pulling the broomstick.
Yes,
It's
but we're
supposed to
pretending-
inspire hope.
But we're pretending that didn't happen, right?
No, we are.
Sorry,
It
no, but
did happen.
JJ's pretending that didn't happen. That you can only have the Force if you are part of this specific. If you're a Palpatine or you're a Skywalker, everybody else is out. Right?
Actually, the thing that Finn wanted to tell Rey.
Well, he's Force sensitive.
right, but
that's
still
different.
the Force.
That's different.
That's still the Force.
So can
Oh,
we talk about this
man.
Force sensitive thing real quick?
Well, let me finish. I'm almost done.
All right, yeah.
I am inevitable, and I am Iron Man.
Yeah, I totally am Iron Man.
Apparently, 2 lightsabers can kill wrinkly old men. Real quick, I saw a really
Why is that
fucking
so funny?
hilarious like a meme thing where it's like Rey needs 2 lightsabers to deflect Force lightning. Samuel motherfucking Jackson just needs his one purple lightsaber.
Yeah, that's right.
One-handed.
And that's when he aged Palpatine.
That's when
right?
he melted his
became
face.
aged.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every kiss begins with me giving up my life for you. Good guys win, bad guys lose.
Yeah.
Yellow lightsabers. My name is Khan. Do you think I can legally change my name to Khan and our parents would be okay with it?
Yes.
I mean, do
I
whatever you want.
actually doubt it, but yeah.
gonna
I'll
try
say
that,
yes
actually.
just to
That's
give you hope.
2020 goal of mine.
For
this year.
sensitivity.
Yeah.
So what are you going to say?
Well, it's just so this is the famous theory, right? That so in the movie they leave this loose end because they weren't good at making this movie. So Rey is telling a secret. No, sorry, Finn is telling a secret to Rey.
Yeah.
Rey, I'm.
Yeah.
And then he.
Well, there's something I've been
And
meaning
there's
to tell you.
something I tell you.
Yeah. And it's that. What is this now? At some fan convention, J.J. Abrams said
Yeah.
that he was going to say I'm force sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, why would you say that? Why would that be the thing
Why
that
is
comes
that
to
you're
your mind?
dying?
To that.
Yeah.
It means nothing. Like to me, the more. I would have thought it'd be like I love you.
That's
or
what I
something,
thought it
right?
was.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Part of me feels like
last
that was a
words.
studio note from Disney. Like, you remember the end scene with Jenna going up to Lando and being like the family thing, and
That
everyone's
was
like,
so weird.
"We're setting up a spin-off." I feel like Finn being force sensitive is like, we're setting up the future of the Star Wars brand. This is them. This is them.
Interesting.
This is them marveling it. You know what I mean?
Let's-
It's setting the seeds for like, this can go to its own movie. This can be a Disney Plus thing. This can be this. This can be that. And I
Like
think
an
that
animated show or something.
yeah, and I think that's exactly. You see Snoke as a clone. That could be its own thing.
But
this
do
could
we
be that.
think the character? Okay, so this is the next part I want to talk about, which has been great. It's the social impact of this movie. The fan base just going completely fucking nuts. Reylo fans verbally attacking John Boyega on the internet, and then him attacking them back, and then him more recently dropping a hype video where he's basically saying "fuck you." It's been wonderful.
I haven't seen that yet.
But why are they attacking John Boyega?
So
Because
John-
his character did something?
So John Boyega came out and said basically he didn't agree. He didn't say exactly like this, but he basically says he didn't agree with the fact that Ben and Rey got together. He didn't think it made sense. He also said, like, what about my character Finn?
Yeah.
There was clearly some kind of
Also,
intimacy.
he wasn't that serious about it though.
No, he's not been serious
Yeah.
about any of this.
Yeah, he's also intimating that. He also was trolling Reylo fans, and he was saying, "Yeah, sure, they had that kiss, but guess who is still alive?" And all the Reylo fans jumped down his throat.
To be
lots
fair,
of racist stuff.
hold on. To be fair, so the whole thing started off because John decided to go on Twitter, and a week or two after the movie releases, he puts out this thing about how. Here, let me pull it up. He basically has
it's a group of images, right?
From Force Awakens where Kylo has basically got Rey chained up, where people like that's very forceful and manipulative. Then it's like another picture of her stabbing Kylo from Episode 9, then fighting and whatever. And then his caption reads Star Wars romance, right? Being like, come on, this is a little, and it is. It's weird. Their entire romance is kind of bizarre.
Right. Again, to troll Reylos.
And to troll everyone, I think.
Yeah.
And then after that, he says something along the lines of, now that Ben's gone, Finn can go and lay down his pipe.
Oh, my God.
That's terrible.
It's just like,
terrible.
it's like,
I mean, he's just probably sick of it, right?
Yes.
Like,
I
think
6
it has
years
to
of just,
be.
like, enough already.
Well,
Like,
and the thing is, Boyega is one of us. He grew up a Star Wars fan. He loves this stuff. Like, of all the main actors on the set, he was like, it would be like one of us being cast in a Star Wars.
he's your
movie.
age. He's 27.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it'd be like one of us being cast and being able to experience this. But now you've come out on the other side where you've had to experience all the negative backlash and everything. And I think, he's just kind of tired of everything.
It's funny because, like, I remember seeing a lot of documentaries back in, like, the 90s, early 2000s of, like, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford talking about this thing known as Star Wars now being so overpowering in their lives, and it's always, always on. And we're talking the 80s and the 90s, when there's no social media, where you could easily, for the most part, kind of tune it out, right? You could go turn it off. You could watch just the news or something, or watch VHS tapes and easily be turned off from it. With John, with all these actors and actresses, it's in their face 24/7 forever.
And we can communicate with them. If you don't like John Boyega, you can tweet at him, and he will probably see that, in some
and
form.
retweet you.
Yeah.
And put you in a hype video.
Yeah. Oh god.
And then just spit all over you. It's been fascinating.
But the clear part to me is that John Boyega and then also Oscar Isaac came out with all this stuff after this last movie, and it felt like our contract's up. Disney can no longer control what we say, and they were clearly voicing some of their
frustration
and displeasure with the direction of maybe this trilogy. So I think that was really interesting.
I mean, they did a great job considering what I think that they had absolutely nothing to go with. I mean, they were they were giving nothing to sell, and they sold it anyway. I think they're good, even though I think all the faults have nothing to do with the performances. I think everybody in it is good, and
I mean, the fact that they took this interesting premise of a stormtrooper who turns and basically made him into a character that just screams everybody's names for 3 movies.
Oh, and worse, dude, and worse. Murders stormtroopers like they're going out of style, and gleefully yelling and woo-hooing as he's shooting stormtroopers and whipping them around rocks and smashing their bodies again. Are you an ex-stormtrooper? And then it's not like they forgot that, because then they introduce us to another ex-stormtrooper.
Yep.
But then there's no, and then later she's supposed to kill the Emperor, but she can't strike him down in anger. Yet they can all gleefully murder as many stormtroopers as possible.
That's right.
The movie just does not have its head on straight about its morality, and it totally dropped the ball on that awesome premise of having a stormtrooper turn. They open Force Awakens like that, and you're like, oh shit, okay, it's on.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, it's not on.
To be fair, Disney's a corporation, and their board and everything. They need money, clearly, so they want you to go buy the book that talks about Finn's backstory.
Fuck that. I'm a movie fan, right? And I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I never really dipped into the extended universe. I told you I read Heir to the Empire, and I loved that as a kid, but even if I like the extended universe stuff, these stories, these movies must stand on their own, just because that's what movies do. They stand on their own. It's not a television show. So bring in the extended universe stuff. It just still has to stand on its own.
Absolutely.
That's my fucking rule.
I agree with that. And I will say 2 words, Jules, that work pretty well in the court of law, at least sometimes, about why they might be running around gleefully killing stormtroopers. Self-defense, man, okay? God, when you're doing self-defense, it's the light side of the
No,
force.
hold on. Wait. So when they're on the Star Destroyer trying to free Chewie, they're running in the hallway. The stormtroopers turn around. They don't have their guns aimed, and they blast them.
Yeah.
So it's preemptive.
Somebody also pointed
Preemptive murder.
There's also somebody pointed out on Twitter. There's several times in the movie where stormtroopers give them a chance to
shoot first,
to surrender. No, they'd be like, "Hey, put down your weapons." And they're just like, "Woohoo!" It's
That's problematic.
I mean, whatever. I get. It's only. In the original trilogy, you don't think about it, but once they're the ones who brought in the fact that these are child slaves.
Yeah.
I didn't make that up. That is JJ, dude.
That's
So
from that.
if you don't want that, then don't bring that into the equation.
Let's actually talk real quick. Stormtroopers from prequel to original to the sequel. So the original trooper was a clone trooper, right?
Right. Yeah.
So killing a clone's whatever.
But we didn't know that, did we?
We did
at
know
the time.
At the time, so during the sequel trilogy, so in episode 2, it's a clone army.
Okay, yeah. That's what I'm saying. In episode 4 through 6,
you don't really
know anything.
You don't know anything about
Isn't there
them.
a line that references clone troopers?
I don't.
No.
so.
In
Clone
4?
Wars.
There's
Clone
the Clone Wars, but there's
Yeah.
nothing that says who are these people.
So if you pull in the extended universe stuff, by that point, most of the original clone army has been killed in battle, and if
Or retired.
or retired.
And so there's still a few of them left, but most of them are just conscripts.
Yep.
Or volunteer, however they draft their army.
Right, because a clone rapidly ages faster than a regular
yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
human. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
So then, by the time
Huh.
we roll into the sequel trilogy, JJ introduces this thing where we're going to go find child soldiers to pump up our army, which is the most fucked up thing when you really sit and
But
think
it could have been
about
great. Where was him leading, going to a planet and freeing a bunch of newly captured stormtroopers and having them come to join the fight. Oh my God, it's just so many missed opportunities.
Absolutely.
It's very disappointing
Absolutely.
to just talk about right now.
Yeah. honestly, the whole trilogy, it just feels like we got to get 4 major action sequences. We need 2 lightsaber battles. It's like I have a quarter of things they have to fill, and that's how they basically built these movies. That's what the plot feels like. It's just moving from battle to battle to battle. It doesn't really matter how you get there, right? It just needs to be eye-popping. It just needs to hold your attention just long enough for you to get through this movie. Here's my money for the movie. Pay for the tickets.
Right. I mean, ultimately, Disney sees it. It's for the kids. It doesn't have to make sense. It's it's like your random animated movie that you make for little kids, where it's like, well, it works for plot convenience and it's colorful and it has this musical number and
this
you're
can't
good.
This can't be for kids. This movie's rated PG-13.
Yeah, but PG-13's the new G. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not even PG.
Are you telling me? So wait, hold on. Are you saying if we were kids and our parents had to decide to let us go see this movie, and they go and see it, and they see it's a movie about child soldiers?
But it's not, though.
It's not.
I mean, there are no children as
But
soldiers.
they're still there.
But that's not why it's PG-13, right? I assume it's PG-13 because maybe she stabs him in the chest. That might literally be the only reason it's PG-13.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true.
What
Yeah,
else?
maybe.
Yeah, we didn't drop any swear words.
Yeah,
I
there
guess all
wasn't-
just
they don't
the
swear in
shooting.
Star
I guess
Wars.
maybe there's
There's
the
no
laser gun.
I
There's
think
no
I think it's
gratuitous sexual
violence.
stuff. So
I think it's just violence.
It's just violent.
just
yeah.
violent. Yeah.
Just all the sexual chemistry between Poe and Finn.
Yeah,
They
it's too
slapped
much.
the 13 on there.
It's too much. Oh, Jules, you had a great line earlier.
What
so
was it?
Speaking of Raylos, right? Another a fan favorite thing that they wanted was Finn Poe, and Jules won this great observation that Disney wanted to get so far away from that they made Poe as macho as possible. He's got a fling on another planet. Just made him as manly as possible in this last movie. And I
That's
thought
right.
that was-
Yeah, he's straight, right? You see this girl? He used to bang that chick. Yeah. Yeah, you guys like Poe, right? Yeah, he's not with
Yeah,
Finn.
he's
Don't
a
worry
dude.
about it.
He's a dude.
Yeah, look, she's hot, right? Look at her eyes. You like her eyes?
That's all you see. You never
he
see
used-
the rest of her face.
He used to
see her
smuggle
eyes.
spice, just like Han Solo.
Yeah, he's
the
cool.
machoest of all men.
Yeah, you
know?
liked Han Solo, right? He's
Yeah.
just like Han.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're so right.
It's just all fan service, and I hate that word because I'm a fan and I didn't feel at all serviced by this. But maybe the word service is perfect because that just gives me that I picture a fucking sad hand job and the back room of a fan service. Yeah, you want to fucking see an evil Ray? Yeah, here you go. Fucking there you go. You get it for 2 seconds. It doesn't mean anything, but you got it. It all felt just so gross. And by the way, I did see it a second time for the first podcast, and I liked it much less than the first time.
Yeah.
I
And
thought for a
spoiler
second-
alert, I didn't like it the first time.
I thought for a second you were about to say I liked it a lot more.
No.
But
No.
oh boy.
No.
That right there is a social clip. I am motioning to our producer. That was a great all-time rant.
I've been holding on to that fan service line for a couple
Oh,
days.
it's so great. Amazing.
So what would you say then? Obviously, you've seen the movie Julien twice.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you because you
You gotta
you,
simmer down.
you probably
Hot
have to
right now.
you probably have to think about this. What would you say is your favorite part?
Oh
You
man.
give me,
Yeah, I'm going to have to give you a minute. Arjuna, what would you say is your
I'm
favorite?
gonna go with the same thing I said in our lost episode. It's got to be Babu Frick.
Babu.
Babu, it's
Hey,
like,
hey,
it is the only. It might be the only thing in the entire movie that actually brings me any type of joy. And just be like, once you say, especially when I saw it the second time. Once I saw him the first time, I'm like, I don't care about anything else in this movie. I'm
Yeah.
just waiting for when he comes back
Yeah.
and when he says his stupid little hey line.
Yeah.
Babu. That's all I care
Did
about.
you,
I totally
did you,
agree.
Did you hear about this? And I don't know how true this is, but strong rumors suggest
He's
that
force positive.
Disney execs wanted to cut him. And they are actually legitimately confused about why he's so popular. They don't get it. They don't
It just proves that
understand.
they're
Because they pile a bunch of shit next to him.
Wait, what do you mean?
The rest of the movie is just shit.
Yeah, no, but
And
like
then he's this interesting thing.
No,
The
but I
fact-
think
no,
he's
the fact-
genuinely a pretty good creature design, and I like the size difference.
Yeah.
He's got a funny voice. I don't know. I think it's good. I
no.
think
That's
it's
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The fact that Disney execs wanted to cut
Yeah.
the best part
Oh,
of the
yeah,
movie
yeah.
shows you on what a disconnect
Yeah,
that
sure.
they are
Yeah,
with what
yeah.
the fans actually want. This movie's a whole bunch of fan service.
Wait, I'm sorry. You thought Disney knew what the fans? What is
No, I'm
wrong
just.
with
All
you?
I'm trying to say is.
I mean, Babu Frick, I think, is one. Besides Baby Yoda, is maybe the
Yeah.
only like new creature design in the last
Agreed.
like 30 years of Star Wars that I think genuinely fills me with a sense of like wonder and excitement.
Yeah.
And like, I'm with you, dude. Babu Frick is good.
Not Jar Jar.
No wonder from Jar Jar. No,
Can't wait
What
till he
about-
comes back.
Okay.
I know. Coming back for the Obi-Wan series. I don't know if you heard about that.
I did hear, it, but
Bearded.
I read your tweets.
Oh, yeah,
It'll
that's
be
right.
better. The graphics will be better. So maybe, and we'll get like an older,
Yeah,
like
there's-
crown hangs heavy kind of thing.
There's a rumor that he'll have hair, like facial hair, and
Oh,
be
that's
a
disgusting.
wizened Gungan.
What do you mean facial hair?
But
Like
we
a
know
beard.
how he
Have you ever seen a
ends.
fish with a beard?
No, not really.
trying to
the
think.
the
We
last
know-
canonical thing we have is he is a
Clown.
a clown on the streets of Naboo, and he celebrates with the people on Naboo when they're freed at the end of Return of Jedi. But there's nothing else canon after that.
Wait.
Yes.
Wait.
He's alive through the end of Episode 6.
Wait.
So there's the book.
He is in. No, he didn't. He's not in the.
Movies? No.
Did they put him in an edition of these movies?
No.
Okay.
No. But he is in a book, like short stories.
Yeah, I
Or
forget.
no,
what
maybe not.
No,
short
he's
stories.
in the Aftermath book.
The Aftermath book, and
Yeah.
it's like a random chapter.
It's a paragraph.
of Naboo,
It's a paragraph.
and he is a clown.
Okay.
He's a street performing clown
because
who-
of all the evil that he did.
But he was
Yeah.
a general, right? He
He-
was
He
no,
was
he
a
was a
politician.
It was a politician.
Yeah.
He was the one that said to the Senate, "Hey, let's give Papa Palpatine emergency powers to demolish
Yeah.
the Senate."
He was the deciding vote that made the Empire.
yeah, because he
Darth Jar Jar. I'm telling you, God, he knows what he was doing. I know you guys want to punch
Or
me
just
right
like
now.
a sad political system.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second.
Oh man.
so Christian, do you have a favorite part?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my favorite part from last time. It's when Palpatine's doing the Force lightning into space to disable all the ships, and Rey is just kind of like lying there, and she kind of has like an acid trip. Like she kind of zones out, and all of a sudden the lightning becomes her reality. She zones past all the ships, and she gets past the lightning, and then you hear all the Force ghost voices. That's my favorite part, just because I thought it was really well done. I'm sad though because I heard that they actually cut, or at least they were originally going to have all the Force ghosts appear. So you would have seen
I don't understand why
Mace
they didn't.
Windu
Because
and-
they always
and
appear.
Yoda.
They're not-
allegedly,
yeah.
allegedly, Hayden Christensen, Ian McGregor, and Samuel L. Jackson filmed scenes.
Yeah. So why
Jeez.
didn't they release that
And
stuff?
What about everybody else? We couldn't get.
Couldn't do it, apparently.
We didn't have the money. The budget wasn't there.
You could just I don't know. Wait.
That's a great question.
But they couldn't find the Yoda doll. They couldn't roll it out.
Well, back up.
Yeah.
You couldn't just do what you did with Carrie Fisher. Just take some footage. Like you got tons of footage of Qui-Gon.
Oh, Qui-Gon.
Yeah,
That's a
so
good
use that
point, dude.
footage.
I don't
I would
know.
have
Why
lost
did you-
my
That's
shit.
Why did you-
such a good point.
Why didn't you just do that?
I would have
Idiot.
lost my shit if I saw.
And then they
Liam
also had
Neeson.
talked about having all the Jedi in the last scene on Tatooine, but then they decided not to. Like all of them, like all the live action Jedi
Why
you've
couldn't they
basically
put-
ever seen
Why couldn't they
on
put
Tatooine.
Ben Solo with his parents?
Would have
Yep.
made a lot of sense.
That
At
would've
least
been
with his
nice.
mom, yeah, would have made sense.
With his mom, yeah.
But apparently the message they wanted was that it was a really powerful moment for Luke and Leia, the brother and sister, being reunited on the planet. You know, and,
no, but
and Alderaan's gone, so Luke would bring Leia to his home planet.
that's what I hate.
Blah blah blah.
And
yeah, I
it's
agree.
so disrespectful to Leia to like to bury. It's just she's a complete afterthought, of having to be like, we'll take it to the planet where Luke grew up, and well, your planet's gone, so we'll just bury yours here too, and that's perfect for you both. It's
Yeah.
like no, this
It's-
is his
it's so
adopted.
forced.
It's so forced. That said, my favorite part of the movie is returning to Tatooine and burying the thing there and seeing.
Oh, that is your favorite.
I
part.
think so. I don't
Oh,
like the
wow.
way it's executed.
Yeah,
I should have cried. Tears should have been streaming down my face,
Yeah.
and they weren't.
Right.
But I can see why they ended that, and I bet when they came up with the idea,
Yeah.
that's a good way to end all 9 movies. I like that.
Yeah.
I just don't like the way it was done.
Sure.
But I like the concept of it.
Sure. I mean, honestly, the very last shot is perfect. It's
lovely.
Like Rey, the twin sons. I mean,
But even that is like
the build-up is terrible.
it's like the perfect example of what's wrong with the whole thing, where it's like she says her last line and then she like just kind of walks over to where she is going to just stand heroically. There's no reason for her to stand there, no motivation for her to like what's happening. They just knew that was the last
mean, that
shot,
whole-
and
she
She
wants to
lights
see the sunset.
She lights the lightsaber and then doesn't unlights it. Like what was the point of her lighting the lightsaber?
Just to
still
see
works,
how
yeah.
cool it is.
Do I
Just
need to
to-
charge it?
just
yeah,
to
is it
show us what
80%?
like oh my
Do these outlets still
You
work?
know what's the worst?
admiring it. She's like, oh, look at this thing. I built.
The worst part of that scene is not
old
the
woman?
Luke, the Leia. It's the old woman. Who the fuck is she to
Yeah.
come like? Who are? Fuck
No.
you.
Yeah, what's your last name?
names only. What's your last
What? It's like, fuck off. Like, you don't do that, you cranky old bitch.
Also, she
Oh,
came out
man.
of fucking nowhere, right? I mean, we're seeing this like empty desert expanse, and then she turns around, and this old lady with this like slow-moving elephant appears out of nowhere. It's like, where did you come from, lady?
Oh my god.
I mean, why not just
Love
make it the Mandalorian? Just be done with it.
Oh my
Well,
god.
that was
would
my
be great.
question. Why we should have got like
Or Baby Yoda.
baby,
just
or like
walking.
it would have been teenage Yoda showing up in the rebel fight.
Technically, he'd be 75.
So still
but he would
baby,
be a
8-year-old,
teenager.
5-year-old Yoda,
3-ish.
or with
essentially.
somebody, or where's Carl Weathers? Where's that MMA fighter who I like so
Gina
much?
Carano.
Carano,
Yeah, where was she? Get
Cara
somebody in there.
Dune.
Come on.
Cara Dune.
Yeah.
Probably dead at this point.
Probably.
I mean,
Yeah.
You can get somebody
who
though.
knows?
Werner Herzog, bring him back. I don't know.
Bounty hunting
Oh
is a
my
difficult profession.
Where is the
Actually, real quick though, so it's interesting because I know you didn't see that Mandalorian episode, the one right before that premiered the day before Rise of Skywalker did.
Yep.
But that's the episode where it shows Baby Yoda force healing
Yep.
Carl Weathers.
I'm aware
Wait,
of
and I think that
the-
was important because we'd never seen that ability before at all.
Oh,
in the
but don't
movies.
you just gave me.
Here we go.
Oh,
do it,
dude.
do it.
Well, hold
That-
on.
but that-
Does no one know my favorite part?
Oh,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
You got me
Jerks.
onto the next thing
Yeah.
that makes me mad. Go ahead. What's your favorite part?
My favorite part of this entire
My
experience,
favorite
by
part.
far, has to be Julian. Actually,
Oh,
yeah,
Wait, what?
Julian's anger and hatred has just been the most entertaining thing.
It's so eloquent.
But it's not just Julian though. It's like a lot of Star Wars fans are upset and pissed off with this trilogy, and there are these beautiful pieces coming out where it's podcasts,
Poetic.
YouTube
Yeah.
videos, essays on the like. It's beautiful.
postcards,
Postcards.
Yeah.
faxes?
It got so bad that somebody started. There was a day where "We Love You, Ryan Johnson" and "We
Oh
Love
my
You,
God.
J.J. Abrams" were trending because people felt so bad for how they were bashing.
How they're being bashed.
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
But why?
Well,
They're getting paid so many millions of dollars.
Hey,
I
it's
don't
not about the
know.
money, Arjun. It's about
It's all about the money. My
Perception.
God.
Yeah.
perception.
Why else would J.J. Abrams direct 2 Star Trek movies and 2 Star Wars movies and a Mission Impossible movie?
Because he likes the
if
stars.
it wasn't about the money.
here's the thing. I think Force Awakens and Last Jedi were good enough
Yeah.
that you could have elevated them if you nailed it. If you nailed Episode 9.
Absolutely.
Like there were enough pieces. Like, and I still really like Force Awakens and Last Jedi. Like, I'll watch them both again. You could have elevated both of those movies, but this just dropped the ball so badly and just proved they didn't have a plan through the whole thing. The evidence is right there.
Yeah.
So what's the other thing that you're really pissed off about?
Well, what were you saying? Oh, moving up the Mandalorian
Yeah.
release date so that fans won't get mad about this force healing thing.
Or
Again,
something.
man,
Or something. Yeah.
that's not how you tell a story. Like, the movies have to be self-contained, right? And I'm not saying we can't have the force healing people. Let's have that, but introduce it in a movie the way you normally would, like a piece of – because I think I said this in our earlier pod. When they introduce it in Rise of Skywalker, it's just clearly, oh, okay, well, we're going to use this in the finale. Somebody's going to bring somebody back to life.
Yeah.
Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Rey bringing Ben or Ben bringing Rey? Can we just get to the end and see?
Turns out it was both.
Yeah, okay, they did a
yeah,
little
they
bit of
did.
both.
They did 2 different scenes.
And again, on the last podcast, this is just like in JJ's Star Trek Into Darkness, when they introduce out of nowhere that tribbles can bring people back to life. It's just like, okay, who are we bringing back at the end? We bringing back Kirk, Spock. Who's dying? Can we just get there? So yeah, that's why that bit, the releasing the Mandalorian, does not make me less angry about that. In fact, it makes me more.
I felt like they did it just to prime you, essentially. It's like, oh, you see this power that we've never shown before on screen? Get ready. for this movie.
Over and over again in this
And
movie.
over.
Not to mention the fact that Baby Yoda, right before force healing, force chokes. So Baby Yoda is doing light side and dark side,
Yeah.
much like Rey Palpatine is capable of. I think the
Rey
whole thing was so. Don't get me started.
My granddaughter.
Well, I think it was. I think Favreau had an interview recently where he talked to. I think somebody asked him like, "Was this a coincidence? Was this planned?" And they said, both of these movies came up with the concept.
Or these movies?
I'm sorry, the movie and the TV show came up with the concept individually because force healing is something that has been part of Star Wars for a long time in expanded universe.
Stuff.
So, but then once Disney figured out that they both wanted to do it, that's when the coordination happened. So.
Well, good for them.
Wow, that's just
That's
lovely.
really good for them. That's
So what
good.
about least favorite parts? You
Oh
can't.
my
And real quick,
God.
rule: you can't say the whole fucking movie.
The whole fucking movie.
I'm gonna start. My least favorite thing with this movie is the fact that it's so obvious that it was not planned out.
Yeah, sure. The lack of planning. Yeah.
Lack of
No,
planning.
that works.
Even though they say in the movie 50 times it's all been leading to this, did they trick you?
Yeah.
Like, after you hearing it for the 10th time, where you're like, "Man,
Maybe this
has
was
been all
planned out.
You're right, JJ. Yeah, it has all been leading to this.
Yeah. I'm gonna say my least favorite part. I said this last time. The first 20 minutes or so, or 25 minutes, basically all that stuff with Carrie Fisher near the beginning.
Yeah.
Just because it threw the pacing off a lot. I feel like in 4 different locations within the span of 5 minutes.
I wanted to
that's
throw
what
up.
That's what it felt like. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was very jarring.
It's very solo.
Yeah, and I felt like a lot of that was to sort of get those scenes with Leia in as quickly as possible to then get away from it. So you've seen Leia, she's in the movie. We'll visit her later.
She's an
boom, there
integral
she is.
part of
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
movie,
Now,
yeah.
now we're gonna spend the rest of the movie not with her.
But
So,
again, I think it was fan service, dude. I think JJ
Yeah.
read, "Where's the training? We want to see Rey training." So we have to pause at the middle of our at the end of our last movie
Yeah.
to watch our main character train,
yeah,
which is just an abomination. But that is sort of my least favorite part. It is unfortunately Carrie Fisher in this
Yeah.
movie, and that's my girl.
yeah.
Could
When
you
she
say
died, I cried, but she should have been cut out of this movie, and it's a big it jams up the works. It's a big problem that she's in this movie.
Yeah.
None of her scenes work. They're worse than not working. They're tearing the whole thing down, and she should have been cut.
Yeah.
Could you say it's not really Carrie Fisher? It's just a computer, a program, something. It's not actually her.
It's not her.
Some of her
right?
lines-
It's her outtakes.
It's her outtakes.
It's her
right?
outtakes, yeah.
Which is bizarre and very weird when you think
It
about
feels
it.
very jarring. It's
You-
way worse than Paul Walker and Furious 7.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
way
You know,
worse.
Yeah.
speaking of jarring and stuff, and something I didn't even you realize, but you don't realize until you read about it or someone says it. Episodes 7 and 8 are basically 48, 72 hours.
Yeah.
Both movies, it's
Happen.
it's a very short period of time if you think about it, right? It's just a few days.
Yeah.
It's not
the whole thing. Yeah.
because
Yep.
they pick up right after one another. It's very early, and then there's a full year between 8 and 9, right? But it never feels that way, and I think they failed in that part to show you that a year has gone by between 8 and 9. Even though they say it physically, you just don't see the character development. You don't see or feel that it's been a year.
I think it's just it's a sign of the bad writing for the whole.
Yeah.
I've seen these movies a lot of times. I had no idea that it was only 3 days or whatever. It's 2 days.
7 and 8 are just 2-3 days, and then there's that
Which-
gap. But you don't.
That makes me
you don't
wonder
get-
about New Hope. How long actually is New Hope?
I think between New Hope and Empire.
Well,
Strikes
not. I
Back,
mean
The actual
between the
movie.
beginning of New Hope and the end of New
A
Hope.
couple days probably.
I think each Star Wars movie is a relatively short amount of time. It's not like there's
It's
takes
never.
place
Yeah, it's
over-
never a massive amount of time.
Yeah.
Even 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
3 is the course of I think a week.
I think 2 might have the longest amount of
2
time,
I think
right?
is a little bit longer because they run away to Naboo.
And
Oh,
3,
yeah.
some time could have passed while like Luke is going to Dagobah and the rebels are regrouping and figuring out how to attack the
5,
new
you
Death
mean?
Star. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, Return of the Jedi.
Return of the
Oh,
Jedi.
6.
Yeah.
Six.
6. Sorry. Right. So
6
there
is
could
probably
be
a
some
little bit
time.
longer.
Yeah.
But episode 5 is, I think it's like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I don't think it's a long
It's
time.
not a
either.
long time.
Because they're on
either.
the run. The Millennium Falcon crew
Yeah.
is on the run the whole time, and
Right.
the asteroid field and the worm and
Yep.
then the Cloud City. That's all. God, those are. That makes me want to go watch these movies right now.
Yeah, I know.
Clear this taste out of my mouth.
Yes.
From all this fan service I got.
This
in the
also
fucking
shows though like how shitty the First Order is. Are you saying in a year they're like, we've got the entire fucking galaxy by the balls? Year later, shit.
Yeah, they
It's
haven't
over.
wiped out the remaining 15 rebels.
How terrible! Like that's so crazy.
Yeah, you think it would be easier, but no. And to go for my least favorite part, that the first/final order is my least favorite part of this
Oh,
movie.
my God.
Just the concept of it, how it works.
You didn't like the red stormtroopers?
Oh my god!
The
And like,
Sith trooper?
oh, and we were building this whole secret army in the ice that's over here,
So,
but nobody knew about it.
Wait. Each ship with a planet-destroying capability.
Each one.
Each one has a Death Star in
But
it.
don't worry, they're in the parking lot and they can't drive out until the
can't-
parking light
They
is
can't
fixed.
fly
It's
up.
like,
They
oh,
can't fly
God.
up until a first.
Why don't we? It's the last
order.
movie. Send some of these guys out. Let's kill some planets. Let's kill some whole galaxies. Come on, guys. Let's get this movie going
No.
here. We're all just in this beautiful grid formation.
Literally no stakes in this movie.
it's
None.
Yeah, this is just.
Wait, what do you mean, Junior? If they don't stop them, then the ships are going to leave that little nebula thing and destroy the galaxy.
You can't even get it out. Can't even get it out.
That's
Oh,
the it's so weird. Like they're
just
there. You know what's also weird too? So Lego came out with a bunch of new 2020 Lego sets, and one of them is the new Final Order Star Destroyer, which is when you look at it is identical to the 2018 Star Destroyer, except for one thing. There's a red line that goes around it.
Oh no.
Which is, I guess, the theme, right? Because Kylo's helmet has these red lines.
Red lines.
That's like their aesthetic choice for this.
Because it
alley.
was cracked.
Oh my God.
But you didn't like that last movie where he cracked it, right, guys? Well, we'll put it back together for you. You like the Kylo helmet? We'll put it back
And
together.
now-
Whatever you
And
want.
now you can buy a new toy, Kylo cracked helmet.
Also, the Knights of Ren are stupid.
oh my god.
So real quick, I want to go back to a point that Jules made just now, where he said, "What was it? JJ went online and read some comments."
Yeah.
So go back to my word bots. Perhaps, and was this an article?
This was an article from the New York Times. I did a little read. Well, tell what you want to say because
Yeah.
I have a follow up to it.
Okay,
maybe.
perfect. So basically, there are some articles that came out that J.J. Abrams may have been influenced by Russian bots, commenting specifically on inflammatory responses to John Boyega, basically like things around the movie, like characters, Raylos, that whole thing.
That there was a large percentage of the online hate towards Boyega and Kelly Tran.
Kelly Tran.
Kelly
Yes.
Marie Tran, yeah.
Yeah, it was a
And-
bunch of racism.
It was
No.
a
Yeah.
large percent of it was actually just Russian bots getting in there, getting Americans to argue with each other about things that they love. So then, did JJ,
Yeah.
in his desperate need to service his fans,
Yes.
accidentally bow down to some Russian bots? Here is the question. Now, the follow up is that I read a few articles. It seems like probably not. The guy who did this research
Yeah.
came up with the answer that yes, there were lots of bots out there, and yes, they were stirring up this bullshit, but that no, we couldn't really find any that like caught on or like he
Would have
had
influenced it enough.
exactly, but they were out there.
Yeah.
So
The fact that that is even a question
yeah.
is, I think, fascinating, especially when they went into the trilogy without a plan. See, what happens when you go into something without a plan?
Yeah.
You're just more likely to be susceptible to this kind of
Well, I mean,
ridiculousness.
I get the no plan thing, but like to be fair, the original Star Wars trilogy didn't have a.
That was an outline.
There was
He had certain points that he
multiple-
wanted
I
to
don't
he-
even know if that's true, dude.
he-
I don't
Really?
he
I don't
he
know.
changed
Yeah.
things on the day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
There's a
Like,
great documentary. It's Under the Mask, which talks about the original actor who played Vader, the stand-in for Vader.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of stories, scripts that he shows that clearly shows that Lucas did not have the whole thing structured the way we have it right
yeah,
now.
because like like there's so many different ideas and like things he just like let's try this and like
Really?
let's go. That's why the original actor who played Obi-Wan, Alec Guinness, like was so frustrated working on that movie because George Lucas was infuriating to work with because he's like, what is the story? And George is like, I don't know. Let's make it up.
I mean, even
Well, that is
Return of the Jedi,
fascinating.
like Empire Strikes Back. He's our last hope. No, there is another, right? Another
Yeah.
Skywalker. That was supposed to be another sister. They were going to create another sister that you
no.
never meet, but you find out about in Return of the Jedi, so that they could spin that off into more Star Wars stories. But George Lucas, he actually made a good decision. He said, no, we'll make it Leia, and then that can also close the love triangle, right?
Yeah.
So that's actually a great decision by him. But it also proves that, like, there was no fun.
Really?
There was no.
That's
They had
amazing.
no idea.
That's amazing that for that trilogy, so the lack of planning may have created one of the best trilogies ever.
Yeah.
Whereas lack of planning here may have destroyed
The difference
an
though,
average trilogy.
The difference though is
Interesting.
you had one man who was the through line.
Yeah,
George
yeah,
Lucas.
That's a good
Yep.
point.
With the sequel trilogy, you
There's
had
too
a
many.
corporation as the
Yeah.
through line,
Sure.
which ultimately gets in the way of a creative decision versus a financial decision.
And you had a release date as a motivator, as opposed to, I want to tell a story about, rebellion and about love and about, scoundrels. You have, I want to make money starting December 20th, 2019.
through February.
Yeah, and that's it.
Although I wonder if there was some mandates with the original trilogy because they all came out May 3 years apart. May 77, May 80, May 83.
I think there were, because if you look at the documentary The Toys That Made Us, they have a whole Star Wars episode.
Right.
And Star Wars was one of the or is the first film to like really hone in upon the idea of like using a movie
merchandise.
to sell merchandise. It
Yeah.
used to be
Makes
TV
sense.
shows.
Yeah.
So the toy manufacturers did have certain
Right.
deadlines. So that makes sense.
The difference being though, again, it was one guy. He had something in his mind.
Yeah, but even one, I read he wasn't even so involved in Empire Strikes Back. He was in the middle of getting Lucasfilm on its feet.
Right.
He was in the middle of a divorce as
Yep.
well.
Oh,
So
wow.
I've heard Empire, the best one, right, is the one that he actually had the least amount of hands on. He gets back in there for Return of the Jedi. They're famously cheap, right? This guy who directed Return of the Jedi, I don't know if you've ever taken a look at it. He directed one other movie. He died like 2 years later. They were trying to get around hiring somebody in the Directors Guild, right? So we should just like stop thinking about
Wow.
George Lucas as this like brilliant. It was all a glorious mistake,
Yeah.
and it all came together beautifully.
Yeah.
And
Somehow.
it's a tough thing to recreate.
It's
especially
like the
corporations.
viral video that Ravi made.
So
You catch lightning in a bottle.
To
Yeah.
be honest, then it sounds like what you're saying is we got the exact trilogy that we
Deserved.
deserve.
Yeah.
If Star Wars is a glorious mistake, then by gosh darn it, they have kept it in the exact same vein in the way of how it was originally created.
And I think if they would ever let us watch just the original Star Wars without any of the special edition shit, I think we would see it because it is a disaster. The special effects are a disaster. There's people walking around and like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
yeah.
it shouldn't work,
So-
but it does.
So fun thing
Yeah.
with that. So when
That's
they
hilarious.
filmed it originally, they went out and did their principal photography. They cut it and they looked at it and they were like, "What the fuck is this?" things like when they're in the the bar,
Oh, the cantina.
The
the
Yeah.
cantina,
outside
the
the
cantina,
yeah.
for example, and Luke cuts or Obi-Wan cuts off the guy's arm.
Yeah.
When they originally shot the principal photography, you never saw a reaction of the arm actually being cut off or falling down. They went back and added stuff like little things like that
Yeah.
and the special effects stuff because they were like, we're missing so much story.
Mhm.
And it was also during a time where, it's the 70s and everyone is high off their fucking ass and nobody wanted to do any work. I forget it's a really good documentary from the early 2000s about like special effects, and it was very specific to episode 4. So yeah,
That's
you're right. It's just it was a gigantic like
Then
But
shi-
it caught some magic.
Yeah.
It caught magic, you know.
Shame on us for expecting, though, something better than what we got.
I guess, but no, I don't know. If it was as good, if 9 was as good as 7 and 8, I would have been happy.
Yeah,
you
agreed.
know. But
I'm still gonna fight this till my dying day. I still feel like 9 is better than 8.
Yeah, because you
I
are
hate-
high right now.
I hate 8 because of that stupid casino scene.
yeah, I agree.
It is
That's
so.
The casino
And Laura
scene.
Dern's character, God, she's stupid.
Aldo.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
idiot.
She's a great actress.
By the way,
Laura Dern's
Dominic
a great actress.
Dominic
But
Monaghan.
they
yeah.
screwed him over.
No, but he suggests the Hodor maneuver.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need more Hodor maneuvers.
Yeah.
Does he not remember what the Hodor maneuver is? Has he forgotten? Does
we
he not read his
need
history books?
kamikaze pilots.
That's you, buddy.
Also,
Isn't that him?
He has more lines than the Rose character.
Oh, by
Yeah.
by a lot.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think that's the replacement. We need. Well, actually, no. Jenna's the replacement. Everything that Jenna can do,
Rose can do.
Rose can do.
Yeah.
So what was the point
A
of introducing
mechanic.
Jenna? Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. But
Julien, do you have a hot take for us?
no, we've heard many this episode.
Your last one, if you want. Do you want to hear it?
From the last time we recorded.
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah, sure.
the lost
missing
episode.
So last time,
Mhm.
you had said Palpatine being alive in the opening crawl is fine.
Oh yeah, I did. I already
Which
said
at
that
this
on
point, it's not really a hot take.
Yeah.
It's like that makes sense. It was probably the only saving.
Well, I
grace.
just think it's the only thing I've heard that everybody hates that we hear that Palpatine's alive early on, and I was okay with it. So I guess that maybe is my hot take.
All right, there you go.
And I'm also a hot take. I get Carrie Fisher out of this movie. As somebody who loves
Yeah.
Star Wars and Carrie Fisher, I'm saying cut her out. That's a hot take.
That is a hot take.
I agree with that one though. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, if everyone agrees, it's not really a hot take.
Well, I can't help you then.
My hot take: this is still better than Episode 8. Ha! There we go.
That is
That's
I bet
not
people
too hot.
agree
I think
with
some
you.
people agree with
I
you.
strongly disagree, but I think people probably agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, I
The
strongly
Russian
disagree
bots.
with you. Disagree.
the Russian.
The Russian bots agree with you.
Let's see. Fun facts: Darth Revan is canon now. We did talk about. Well, I guess we shouldn't keep saying we talked about this, but
In the episode that no one can listen to.
yeah.
yeah. So Darth Revan is canon, as we know. Darth Revan is from the Old Republic era. He is a Sith Lord, and Arjuna, why is he canon?
So in the supplementary works that you can get with these movies,
The visual
appar-
dictionary.
yeah, which you apparently need to get to understand the movie. Yep. The different legions of troops are named after different Sith Lords. One of them being called the Darth Revan Legion, which makes Revan, who previously in the expanded universe in the video game Knights of the Old Republic, is the reigning Sith Lord 10,000 years before the beginning of A New Hope.
I almost want to give Jules like a quick 2-sentence synopsis of what Darth Revan's all about.
Yeah.
Sith Lord,
Yeah.
captured by the Jedi, gets his mind wiped so he can work with the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's messed up.
And is this
good
person
stuff.
in Rise of Skywalker?
No. His
So
how are
legion.
we-
So
His
each
legion.
each legion is named after a Sith Lord,
Yeah.
and one of them is named Revan after the Sith Lord.
Oh,
Darth
I
Revan.
see.
Yeah, and he's 10,000
Once
years. in the
again,
past.
you
Apparently.
need to get the visual dictionary. Read it, front to back.
So you
So,
understand.
but it's just mentioned in Rise of Skywalker. Somebody is like, "Oh, alert the Revan squad."
No,
or
it's,
something.
it's mentioned in the visual
Oh
dictionary.
well, fuck no.
But
why
the
are we
visual-
even? It's not.
because-
but it's not there. It's not
because
anywhere.
the visual dictionary is canon.
Oh.
I don't care about that. I literally couldn't.
So now,
What else you got?
whatever
What
was
else
in the
is there?
visual dictionary, you can make a spin-off movie too.
I hope they should go all out, and they should be like in a limited edition Blu-ray case on the inside left flap. You'll get a secret that no other Star Wars movie, and there's only be 100 copies of these things. That some kind of like canon information, and you can be one of the 100 people to own it for like $500.
But Christian, they have a Star Wars theme park.
Yeah.
Do you not think at some point they will incorporate some kind of like hidden message or hidden piece of plot or story in their theme park?
Oh yeah.
That in order for you to understand, you have to go to the theme park.
Weren't there messages
Experience.
on Fortnite
There were messages
Yeah.
on
from
Fortnite.
Palpatine?
God, I
yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a whole Fortnite
yeah.
thing.
The dead speak. I mean, the first words of the crawl, I believe, are a reference to
Yeah, a Fortnite
to,
thing.
to Palpatine and Fortnite.
Yeah.
It was just so stupid because Fortnite's dumb.
Gotta love
Wait, does that make Fortnite?
Canon.
Canon.
Is Fortnite like a thing in Star Wars?
it. Yeah, why not? Oh, and Marvel.
Does that mean Leroy Jenkins is canon? somehow?
Leroy Jenkins. Yeah,
We got to get him playing
yeah,
Fortnite.
get,
so
get
he's
him,
canon.
get him in there. Yeah.
So we've been going for a little bit here. I think one of the last things that I want to kind of like break into is kind of this is the end of the Skywalker saga.
What?
Hallelujah.
For now.
For now.
Oh.
What do we think is the future of Star
yeah.
Wars? And I think answer this in two ways. What do you think logically, and then what would you like to happen?
Oh, interesting.
Ooh.
I guess I'll go. I think logically, what makes sense is, well, here's what we know. At least 3 years before another movie comes out. And it sounds like they're totally pivoting to Disney Plus shows. So we obviously Mandalorian just wrapped up. They're already shooting season 2.
Yep.
We have Obi-Wan series coming out. There's that
Cassian and
Cassian.
that stupid character from Rogue One that I don't care about at
But
all.
they also have K2SO.
Hey, his accent
Yeah,
is cool.
No, it's no.
That's his natural accent.
Can I ask about that
Diego
accent?
Luna.
It doesn't make sense in the Star Wars universe, right? Because in the Star Wars universe, we have Wookiees speaking Wookiee and English
Oh, I see what
speaking
you're
people speaking English, and they understand each other.
Oh, they call it
Why is
basic,
somebody
yeah.
putting like they should have just had him speak Spanish and have just an English-speaking person speak English?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just embrace it
Yeah.
anyway. So that's what I would have done. But go-
Interesting.
go ahead.
Interesting.
But you also have some characters who have like British accents and some have American.
Yeah,
That's-
didn't
that's
Jin
weird.
have
But
a British
there
accent?
shouldn't be ESL. That's weird.
I guess.
Do you know what I mean? Like I
I mean, I don't.
you
I
grew
don't
up on
find
a
it that
planet they
weird.
speak English like this, but where is he growing up that he speaks Spanish and then learns like an English accent?
Planet
It's-
Spain.
Planet Spain, yeah, Spain.
Anyway, I would just have him speak Spanish. But anyway,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to derail you.
No, that's
But
okay.
yeah.
So we have these TV shows,
Yeah.
and it's at least with the Mandalorian, it sounds like they're going back to basics. They've given the reins over to some very smart, intelligent people. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni is helping him out and stuff. So it seems like logically what they're going to do is create an expanded universe, but have it live on television. And I personally would like them to stay there. No more movies. Stay on television. I think Star Wars, the stories that we want to see at this point, the stories that need to be told, need to live in that kind of a 8 to 12 episode format where you can really flesh things out. You can bring in all these like lovable characters and just have it live on television. No more movies. That's what I would like to see. I don't think we're gonna get that. I think they are gonna come back with some movies, but I would just like keep it with television. That was an interesting sound.
Uh-oh.
Are we
Am I-
getting-
am I
is somebody
frozen?
Skyping
for a
us?
second? Yeah,
No.
What
Oh,
did you do?
I think he pulled the cable.
Well, it didn't come out or
what-
anything, though. This is intense.
That's all of them that just went.
Ooh. Somebody on
yeah, I'll just
on Twitch says Krishna
Stop
frozen
recording.
as fuck.
Yeah, they're all frozen.
No, but hit stop recording.
Thank you, Flickit. Can they still hear me?
Yeah, they should be able to
Everyone
still hear
can
us.
still hear us.
Wait, it looks like everyone's frozen now.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
see
hold
us
on, hold
frozen,
on.
frozen AF.
Krishna is back.
I'm back, baby.
I am back.
Who's Flick It?
I don't know. Oh, it's Alex. Alex, what's up, man?
Ravi is back.
Hope you're feeling better.
And Julien is back. We're all back.
And we're back.
All right, let me start the record again. Here we go. Good.
And
Jules
we're-
is moving.
Yep, everyone's
Okay.
moving.
All right,
what are
we're
we
back.
talking about again?
Well, you just finished what Chris wants to see.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. So the TV, television.
Or Juno, what do you want to see?
Yeah, I think for me, I just want to go back to what I love about Star Wars isn't necessarily the movies, but it is more of the expanded universe stuff, like the video games, like the books, like the comics. I kind of want to see Star Wars return to that, maybe in the form of TV, but I would like to see some good Star Wars video games.
That would be nice.
You know, like I love Knights of the Old Republic. That might be my favorite Star Wars thing ever. I'd love to see that type of stuff, and I think wait. I mean, I know we're getting another Star Wars movie in 3 years, but I kind of wish it was 30 years. You know, I wish we could get away from
You'd
Star
be
Wars. in
57.
theater. That's fine.
Do you think your brain could still handle it?
Probably not.
I'd be
Robot
70.
brains by then.
Holy shit!
Man. Don't think about it, man.
70.
Oh, man.
Your kid would be in his 30s.
Yeah, he would be.
Holy
So we'll
fuck.
reconvene in 30 years.
I don't want to know you in 30 years.
Oh.
Well, that's awkward.
Oh, boys.
But yeah, I just want to see more of that. That's what I want. What I think is going to happen is we're just going to keep getting more and more movies. And, I definitely think Disney's going to go the MCU route, and I think you saw that kind of in Rise of Skywalker, where they're dropping in little things that they can make spin-off movies about. What was Finn going to say? What is the parentage of the Janet character? X, Y, and Z, where it's like, ooh, we can set up this thread for this and this and this, and haha, witty one-liners. And
They didn't have to do any of that because we would have gone anyway.
it's true. I agree with you.
We would have gone anyway.
They want to give you the cinematic universe experience, and I think
Boo.
that's the way they're going to go.
Julien, what about you?
Well, I like what they're doing with The Mandalorian. We talked about this before we started recording, but I think it's gone back to the roots of Star Wars, which is like pulling from old Hollywood, right? George Lucas created Star Wars thinking about these old serials, these old Kurosawa movies. The Mandalorian takes from classic Westerns. This is a great place to start. I wish it were in the movies just because I like movies more than TV, but if this is where it has to be, so be it. Star Wars is coming back to the theaters in 3 years. That's too soon. I know they wouldn't wait 30 years, but I would ask that they just wait 7 years. I let you bring one out on the 50-year anniversary of A New Hope. That's if you must put out another Star Wars movie and start another trilogy or whatever, just please just give it till 2027. A nice 7-year gap. People will want it again.
Yeah.
50-year anniversary. I'll be ready to start watching all these movies again. Just give us a little break here.
Fun fact: we've only the longest gap we've had between Star Wars movies is 16 years between Return of the Jedi and Phantom Menace.
It felt longer. It really that felt interminable. Crazy that was only 16.
16.
years.
That's
Yeah.
it.
It's crazy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that does seem wrong.
I
It seems
felt like you were
26.
just.
And
I
then
felt like we were never gonna get it. Like
and-
it wasn't gonna come.
And then it was 10 years between Revenge of the Sith and Force Awakens.
wow.
Just 10 years?
That's it.
Then
Holy
they should wait
shit.
10 years.
Yeah, because
No,
you
five
think about
works.
it.
10 years.
If you think
works.
if you think about it, that definitely feels longer than 10 years. But yeah, it's only 10 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's it.
I'm going to say,
No more.
I don't care.
No more.
You're out.
You straight up don't want any more.
No. I think I will take anything that they give.
Oh, so-
don't. And here's what I mean by this. I think this is the low point.
Oh.
I think it can only get better from here.
Are you lower than the prequels, dude?
No. The sequel trilogy to me is
Oh,
lower than the prequel trilogy.
Wow.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
She mama.
But also like I think I just broke Julien. No, and what I mean, but hold
That's
on.
her hot take right there.
Hold
bro.
on. And what I mean by
Yeah.
that is like, I can't. Christian said this. He's like, I can't make a decision on episode 8 because I haven't seen episode 9. It's part of a whole thing. We haven't let 7, 8, and 9 marinate long enough yet.
Okay.
We don't like 1, 2, and 3 suck. I like 1, 2, and 3, like I said at the beginning, because there's so much extra history, canon, and information, and all this fun crap. And when you go back and watch those movies, knowing like, especially like episode 3, knowing, oh my goodness, Obi-Wan Kenobi saw the love of his life get murdered by Darth Maul. Spoiler alert, whoopsie. When you know like stuff like that, even though it hadn't been written necessarily for Ian McGregor in that moment, you still as a fan, you know that it adds a different layer. I'm hoping with time we're going to get more information about what the fuck really happened between this the time period of 6 and 7. How the fuck did this gigantic evil organization get
Funded?
giant gun? Yeah, how the fuck did they get funded?
I
I
wanna know
really
who's
want to
funding
know the
this.
financial situation of the goddamn empire.
I worry about the custodians. Like, who's cleaning these ships? Like,
They got bots.
They got bots.
that's true. They do
Well,
have
here's
that
my
angle.
question: what would it take for you to feel indifferent about Star Wars?
Stores?
For stores.
Stores.
For Star Wars, like you have other franchises, like you feel to like let's say Doctor Who right now, where you're
Oh,
not
I
even,
couldn't give a fuck
right.
about
You're not
Doctor
even
Who
interested
anymore.
in watching season 12, but like you
Yeah.
were like me, where back in its glory days of the new era, you were so excited. Like,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what would it take for Star Wars, or could you see for it to take to Star Wars to get to that for you?
10 years of Marvel films.
Which is potentially what we're heading
Which is
for.
potential, yeah. If
Yeah.
we continue with this, like, there was a point where they were talking about 2 Star Wars films a year. And,
Yeah.
like, if that happened, then, yeah, definitely. But if they are going to treat this, if they are taking a 3-year break, that's great. And if content comes out slowly and there's a variety of content, it's not all the same shit. Like, the MCU, why that is such a pain in the ass, it's the same type of format. It's movie, 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 movie. While with Star Wars, we have the opportunity of Disney Plus. We have the opportunity of video games, comics, other forms of media to kind of entertain and get interesting stories. Like, the other thing, too, is, like, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd to the point where I go to the goddamn Star Wars Celebration convention, where every time I go, my interest in Star Wars peaks because there's a lot of new content. There's a lot of conversation with fans. You learn so much more interesting history about Star Wars. So I think it can only go up from here. And like I said in 2020, my new thing is lying. So
We have one of our viewers, Alex, has suggested a Babu Frick trilogy.
oh god.
Yeah, I'm in.
Babu Frick.
That would be pretty good.
3 2.5-hour movies of that.
Oh
I'm
Lord.
in.
Like, where did Babu Frick come
Three
from?
4-hour movies about that.
Yeah, Babu Frick.
they just literally copy and pasted him into that that spaceship at the end. He's like on that person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He's practically a jib jab in that one.
Didn't they do that with the alien in Men in Black, the international one?
Oh, the one voiced by what's his name from Silicon Valley and
Camille.
Kumail
Oh
Kumail?
yeah.
Johnny, who's all
Yeah.
ripped now.
Yeah.
Ripped out of his
Jacked.
goddamn
for the
mind.
Eternals. Wait,
Eternals,
does anyone
yeah.
care about the Marvel movies coming out this
Nope.
year? Like,
What's coming out
Couldn't
this
give
year?
two
Black
shits.
Widow and the Eternals.
Don't care.
I think I told you guys I'm done with Marvel after Endgame. I'm out.
What's the point?
Oh
Because
wow.
I just there was
Yeah,
such
it's
a
like
lovely
this-
way to tie it all up.
Yep.
I don't want to ruin that, and I know that Wolfie will make me watch all these new ones when he's old enough. So I'm just gonna wait until that happens.
Oh,
and
smart.
I'm done. I don't.
I actually
love
let him
that.
be your guide.
I love
actually.
that. Endgame is Endgame.
It's in the title. It's in the title.
I'm out.
I
love it.
as an observer, am fascinated to see how Black Widow will perform post Endgame.
I'm worried for it. I'm rooting. I don't want to see it, but I'm rooting for it because female-driven superhero it looks badass. I could see it not doing well though.
I see it doing horribly, honestly,
yeah.
because it's a character. It's kind of like Solo, right? You're finally doing a spin-off of a character who you've gotten a ton of, whose story is complete, who
Yeah.
has died, right? And spoiler alert for I guess those who've been living under a rock for half a year, who has died, who has died, and then you're making this movie about this character. I feel like people are just gonna be like, well, she's dead. What's the point?
Yeah.
I totally. Or like this movie should have been like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or like why didn't she
Exactly.
get her? Yeah, totally. It's out of place.
Right? Why didn't this come out right after Civil War? Because it takes place between Civil War
Yeah.
and.
I think it's
Infinity
gonna be
War.
just like when people went and saw Captain Marvel. It's technically really, really good, really well done.
Sure.
Whatever about the story, and it's gonna be one of those things where you're like, cool, thanks, bye bye, and you forget about it.
It's a popcorn movie
Yeah.
that unfortunately has to follow Endgame. It's just
Do we have to do a was it good on it? I kind of don't want to.
no. If we don't see
Like,
it,
to
then
be
how
honest,
can we
I
do
really
it?
don't want to.
What if it's good? What if it might be
never
good?
know.
It could be good.
I'm more excited for the Twitter fallout. That's what I live for
Boy.
now.
That's true.
Oh boy.
Oh, are Russian bots going to take down a Russian superhero? Fine.
Or are they gonna boost it?
Boost it.
Yeah.
Julian,
Yes.
was Star Wars Rise of Skywalker good?
No, it was not.
Wait, I'm just kidding.
It was, and it wasn't bad either, which is maybe worse. It was boring, and it was soft boiled, and it was.
Yeah.
Softball legs
Yeah.
are great.
I wish it were bad. It was just completely forgettable.
Oh, tough.
Yeah, sorry.
So Jules, now you have to ask.
June bug was episode 9 Rise of Skywalker good?
I'm gonna have to say no. I think it wasn't good, and it was a disappointment, much like the 2019 Yankees.
Oh wow! Jeez.
Wait, much like what?
Oh no.
For more of that, follow us season 2 on Empire Nation.
Wow, look at that seamless plug.
Easter egg.
I had to get it in. He's wearing the Yankees hat.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
It's true.
Christian, it was Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, good.
No, because it was quite bad. Ravi, was Star Wars Episode 9 Rise of Skywalker
Don't even.
bad?
Yes.
Yeah!
He got him. Yeah.
Got him. I knew it. Yeah.
No.
Wait, did you walk out of this movie?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, you
I
had
was
a
just
story.
teasing. No,
Yeah, was
no,
it good?
it was good.
No,
No.
don't troll. You can't.
No,
you
I'm not.
cannot
No,
troll.
the more I've
No.
rewatched it, I've thought about it. This is your
No.
own fault for the issues that we had last time, but I think it's good, and I think it will age well
Why do you think it's good?
because it's better than 8.
Oh, man,
You
I
can't.
disagree
You
with
can't
that.
completely. Oh my.
Yes, I can. I can do
Yeah.
whatever I want. It's my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but, I
but-
don't know. You can't do a whole pod where you're like bashing it and then you're like, yeah, it was good.
Yes, I can. I just did. Go back and watch.
There
it is.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's the story.
Julian, thank you again.
My pleasure. Should we do this next week too?
Yeah,
Just
we'll
our
keep-
weekly. Welcome to
keep
Rise of
going.
Skywalker Weekly, where we
Oh
discuss
my
the
God.
movie every single.
It's like Groundhog Day, but
Yeah.
for like a terrible movie.
We could do
Oh.
minute by minute. We could do an episode on each minute of Rise of
Holy
Skywalker.
shit, that's dedication.
All right, today we're talking about the frame where C-3PO's eyes went red.
Hooey.
No,
Julian,
that's-
where can our listeners find you,
You
if they
can-
want to find you?
Find me on Twitter at Schwabi. I think I got 4 or 5 B's up in there. Find me on Instagram at the same. And find me on Yahoo Sports. I write The Rush at the Yahoo Sports.
Nice.
Go watch it.
I wanted to make a joke when you said rushed as your one word
Mhm.
impression because I'm like, oh, the rush.
Yeah, just trying to get my plug in there.
There you go.
Well done.
Thank you.
It's 6 B's.
6 B's. There you go.
B's.
Come find
Schwabi
me.
with 6
Come find
Bs.
me, Internet. Tell me what you know.
Nice.
Thanks for listening, everyone. You can find the Was It Good podcast on Twitter at Was It Good, on Instagram at Was It Good BTM, and on twitch.tv/wasitgood. Thanks for listening, and tune in next time when we talk about something. Wow, that was a good tease.
Is that?
Yep.
That's record. We're still streaming though.
We're still streaming, Jules. Put those headphones back on.
Oh no.
You don't. We're not done
happens
until we say we're done.
Oh.
No, I'm just
Are
kidding.
there any questions?
But no, just really, we had a lot of comments. Really appreciate the chatter here. We actually oh, my computer died. We actually had some people like have with their own like side conversation on our chat. So
That's
that
pretty
was,
funny.
that was fantastic to watch. So
Real quick for everyone, we've got the.
this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
That's probably the best thing that came out of this episode of Star Wars. Yeah. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.